The name is Jesus, only Jesus. Oh, only Jesus. Only Jesus.
Welcome back to Faithful Chats. Today, we're wrapping up Jesus' Sermon on the Mount with his parable of the wise and foolish builders, found in Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 to 29. This is such a fitting conclusion to this incredible sermon, because it challenges us to reflect on how we're living out everything Jesus has taught.
That's right. Jesus begins with a powerful statement. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock.
It's important to catch what Jesus is saying here. Hearing his words isn't enough. The wise builder is the one who puts them into practice. Someone who acts on Jesus' teachings and lives them out in everyday life.
Exactly. Jesus continues. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock.
The imagery here is vivid. Life is full of storms, challenges, trials, and uncertainties. But when our lives are built on the solid foundation of Christ and his teachings, we can withstand those storms.
On the flip side, Jesus describes the foolish builder. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand.
This is the key difference. Both builders hear Jesus' words, but only one puts them into action. The foolish builder takes the easy, quick approach, choosing a foundation that can't hold up when the storms come.
And the result? The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash.
It's a stark warning. Without the foundation of Jesus and his teachings, our lives can crumble under pressure. The storms will come. It's not a matter of if, but when. The question is, are we prepared?
What's really striking is how this parable ties together the entire Sermon on the Mount. Jesus has been teaching us about living a life that honors God, choosing the narrow gate, producing good fruit, loving our enemies, and so much more. Now, he's calling us to put it all into practice.
And it's worth noting how this passage ends. Matthew tells us, when Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowds were amazed at his teaching, because he taught as one who had authority and not as their teachers of the law.
This reaction speaks volumes. Jesus wasn't just another teacher. He spoke with divine authority. His words weren't just good advice. They were, and are, life-changing truth.
So what does it look like to build our lives on the rock today?
It starts with obedience. Hearing Jesus' words is the first step, but we need to let them shape our actions, decisions, and priorities. It's about aligning every part of our lives with his teachings.
It also means trusting him in the storms. Building on the rock doesn't mean life will be easy, but it does mean we have a foundation that can't be shaken when challenges come.
And it's a reminder to take a long-term view. The foolish builder might have gotten his house up quickly, but it didn't last. The wise builder took the time to lay a strong foundation, and that made all the difference.
So listeners, here's a question for you. What kind of foundation are you building your life on? Are you hearing Jesus' words and putting them into practice? Or are there areas where you need to realign your actions with his teachings?
We'd love to hear your reflections. And as we close out this series on the Sermon on the Mount, we hope you'll join us next time as we continue diving into the Gospel of Matthew and exploring more of Jesus' life and ministry.
Thank you for being part of Faithful Chats. Until next time, let's commit to being wise builders, living out our faith on the solid foundation of Christ. As we wrap up today's episode, we want to remind you that we don't shy away from difficult topics just like the Bible. We believe tackling challenging subjects head-on is important, because that's how we grow and learn together.
However, we know that sometimes these kinds of conversations don't exactly help with the algorithms. So if you found today's episode valuable, we'd love for you to share it with friends, Christian or otherwise. Help us spread these important messages far and wide.
If you'd like to support the creation of these episodes and help us continue diving into tough but essential topics, consider becoming a patron or grabbing some merch. All the information is below. Your support makes all the difference.
Thank you for listening. And until next time, keep growing in faith, truth, and love.